First ever draft in 1936 right here in Philadelphia. And look at that scene again. Over about 20 minutes ago, we got the figure of 70,000 fans here in front of the Art Museum, and it's only getting larger. In front of the Rocky Steps, it's time to start the draft in 2017.
Good evening and welcome to the NFL Draft. Come on, Philly, come on. There you go.
So there's the Browns War Room live, maybe waiting for the phone to ring. And then the Browns draft party, where the fans are on edge, no doubt. Wondering, is it going to be Myles Garrett? Is it going to be yet another quarterback taken in the first round? And we might as well run through the recent history of their picks while we're waiting. Trent Richardson, 3rd overall, traded away out of the league. Brandon Weeden, 22nd overall, traded away, still in the league. You got Barkevious Mingo no longer with the team. Justin Gilbert out of the league. Johnny Manziel, I don't think we need to tell anybody, just look online. Danny Shelton, he is still with the team. Cameron Irving as well. And then last year's pick, Corey Coleman, with some dynamic play while he was healthy and on the field. Mike Mayock, let's check on your best available, presented by Bud Light for the first time in our draft. And there it is, atop your draft board, Myles Garrett.
With the first pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Myles Garrett.
All right.
Defensive end, Texas A&M.
And there is a shot of Myles Garrett in his home in the Metroplex in Dallas. He is, after all it's said and done, a Cleveland Brown. He's going to go to the AFC North.
Myles Garrett, take a look at him, folks. 6'4.5", 272. He's got 35.5-inch arms, which is outstanding. He's got get off and burst. All pro ability all day long. If he stays healthy and he cares to be the best, he will be the best. Now, the first thing he can do is have the size and ability to set a physical edge, keep the outside arm free, and make a play. Outside speed rush. Watch the club rip. Heavy hands, eyes on the quarterback. Really good burst. He takes Connor McDermott, the left tackle, who's a 5th or 6th round pick, and just throws him in the quarterback's lap. Now there's the inside pole, the Reggie White hump move. Good vision to feel the quarterback and retrace his steps. And now they're trying to chip him. Spin move away from the chip. So you saw power, you saw speed to power, you saw speed, you saw run game. He's got everything you want.
We have our first trade of the night, and it is not somebody from the bottom of the top 10 moving up. It's the Bears moving up one spot. What do you think, first blush, that could be all about?
Well, what it's about is they're trying to protect their turf because they're worried somebody's going to leapfrog them to 2. So San Francisco let Chicago know that they had an offer on the table, probably from Jacksonville, to come up and get Leonard Fournette, is my guess.
So what are the Bears moving up for?
Is it maybe it's Solomon Thomas,
or
Coach.
Solomon? Yeah, actually, because of Jordan Howard in Chicago, let me take that back. Jordan Howard averaged over 5 yards a carry last year, so maybe it is Solomon Thomas.
They could use a safety or a corner as well in Chicago, something in the back end.
Are now on the clock, and they're going to make a choice right now. And to do that, as the fans here are learning the details, they gave up a 3rd and a 4th.
The name to watch here, though, Solomon Thomas. This is someone the Bears general manager Ryan Pace has been in love with for a long time. Did not think he would be able to get it. Now made this trade and ensured that if this is the guy, that he can get him.
You know, Mike Mayock brought it up a little while ago. We talked about the best edge pass rusher in the draft just got taken #1. This is the best interior pass rusher.
With the second pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mitchell Trubisky, quarterback, North Carolina.
Hello. Mitchell Trubisky is going to Chicago, and he will mentor with Mike Glennon. And the young man with just 13 career starts at North Carolina is trading in the NC for the C on the side of his helmet.
Did not see that coming. And I really thought that Chicago was pretty excited about Mike Glennon. So they paid him pretty well. And then to move up and give up that draft capital, a third and fourth this year, a third next year, for Mitch Trubisky, to me, is a bit rich. I mean, I struggled with it straight up at number 1, let alone giving away picks at number 2.
Is it okay to be speechless in the second pick of the draft up here on the desk?
Well, I guess that does speak words and volumes.
Wow.
But what makes you speechless about it?
Well, to me, I just thought with Glennon coming in there, I thought they would give him a shot to kind of see if he could do this thing. But I had people tell me that Glennon contract, when you really study it, can be a 1 year and they can escape from it. So I don't think there's a big financial commitment there. And Coach, you mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Look at the reaction in Chicago. Wow. They thought they were getting a defensive player. Could you imagine?
Well, Mitch Trubisky, 13-game starter, a little over 6'2", 222 from Ohio. He's got a very quick feet and release. I like his accuracy, 67%, 8-5 in his only year as a starter. Ironically, of all the quarterbacks, even though he only played 13 games, I think he's the most ready to play in the NFL. Red zone, soft and off corner, recognizes it, ball comes out quickly and accurately, allows the receiver to score. Quick penetration, feels it. Now watch his eyes stay up. No panic, easy throw on a curl. Like that a lot. Now watch him scan a full field, and then the arm strength to make that throw. And finally, this kid's athletic, folks. Little quick move there to beat the safety. Now watch him drop the shoulder pad and deliver a hit. Bang!
We're not saying this is a bad quarterback. No one's saying this is a bad quarterback. We just thought maybe a little bit high. But here's the thing. They do have Mike Glennon, and we've been saying the kid's not ready. You've got a veteran quarterback there now that he can sit behind and learn. And so they've got a good situation now, which is what you would want. Whether you like where you picked him or not, that's fine. He's not your guy, but he's got a guy to sit behind and learn. This kid is quick. He's accurate. He's got great feet, as Mooch was talking about. I think this kid has a chance down the road to be a really good quarterback.
With the third pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Solomon Thomas, defensive end, Stanford.
So he doesn't have to move very far, Coach.
That's great. That's great for him to see Solomon with his family. Just an extraordinary young man. Looking forward to what this guy can do at the next level.
Good luck.
I think one of the keys, Coach, is his versatility, because the last 2 years the 49ers have taken a Pac-12 interior defensive lineman. They took DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead, right? So now it's a different front. They're going to play a 4-down front. So you would anticipate, Coach, on first down, he's a defensive end, I would imagine. They've got to go offense. I mean, I don't see the commish yet.
Okay, go for it. Now here he is.
I mean, if they could surprise us with a quarterback, but it's got to be Leonard Fournette. Got to be Fournette.
With the fourth pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Leonard Fournette, running back, LSU.
Well, there are new business decisions to be made in the American Football Conference South. Leonard Fournette is coming to Jacksonville.
I mean, this guy, he's a hunter with the ball in his hands.
He's the most angry running back I've seen since Adrian Peterson.
The sideline is not an option, Mike.
No, and understand in Jacksonville, they have a defensive roster that most defensive coordinators in the league would take today. Right? So they got to go offense, and they have to take pressure off Blake Bortles, who regressed, let's be honest, he regressed last year. He's 6 feet, half an inch, 240 at the combine, 228 at his pro day. Downhill thumper, old school. You got to give him 20 to 30 touches a game. The question on him is he in the game on third down? Now, DJ talked about how angry this guy is. Please watch this XO with me. Little toss sweep. He had 3 runs for over 50 yards in this game against Ole Miss. It was kind of now 240. Watch this.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Now watch this one.
Oh, this is not.
Watch this one. Get off me, youngster. I mean, that's an angry man. And now the question is, on third down, is he in the game? He caught the ball very well at his pro day. They didn't ask him to do much.
And I got to tell you, again, there's a minute 40 to go on the clock. Deshaun Watson is still sitting there. You got the Jets at 6. You got the Chargers at 7. You've got, again, the Bills sitting there at 10. You've got the Browns sitting there at 12. Is there somebody calling the Titans right now to do what you predicted might happen in your mock draft last night as we check on your top 100 best available presented by Bud Light on the side of the screen?
Look, John Robinson's on record for saying, I want to move out of 5 and I want to move out of 18. John Robinson wants more picks. If he's forced to sit here, I think he'll probably take the corner, Lattimore. But J-Rob is open for business, brother.
J-Rob doesn't have a second-round pick, so he's got 2 ones. He wants to recoup a second-round pick. So I thought this was a classic spot where you could get out of here. But, guys, I'll tell you what, another storyline here is the teams that have established quarterbacks in the middle of the first round are on their knees praying these guys just keep going, because all these great defensive players are going to fall right in their lap.
There's no question. With this change up at 2 kind of threw everybody else off. So now everybody that thought, oh, I'm going to have 2 or 3 options at quarterback later, maybe now I'll have one of those guys that I really want. But I agree with you 100%. All these really good defensive linemen and safeties and corners now are kind of itching their way back. And there's some defensive coordinators right now that are in the low teens and just before 10 are saying, oh, my gosh, he's going to be there. I want my guy.
Yeah, there's 20 seconds left on the clock. I want to sneak Steve Smith in here. They've made their selection, and the Jets are on the clock. If they go wide receiver, Steve, who do you like here?
Right now, I think if they go wide receiver, they have to go with Corey Davis. He's a playmaker. He runs the ball. He catches the ball well. He reminds me of a similar build and how he finishes the game like Terrell Owens. You hope he doesn't have the issues, but you want him to be a playmaker and a guy that can play 10 to 12 years and gives you very consistent numbers.
The Titans. Okay. The pick that's about to be
announced. I think the most logical thing is what Charles just said, which is a corner like Lattimore at 5 and come back at 18 if you stay there and pick up one of those wide receivers. They're the 2 biggest needs that Tennessee has.
With the 5th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Corey Davis, wide receiver, Western Michigan.
Okay. All right, so Western Michigan top 5 pick.
How about Steve Smith right there? Welcome to the broadcast, Steve Smith. That's a great poll, man.
Appreciate it.
He didn't even have his jacket ready.
Look at him, his jacket was off.
Yeah. Awesome. I don't care what school you went to, the numbers that he has put up, you cannot water him down. He is a true playmaker, and I see 10-plus years of great play by Corey Davis.
So if you had told Mike Maccagnan of the Jets that when he was on the clock tonight, he would have his choice between Jamal Adams, Malik Hooker, Jonathan Allen, Marshawn Lattimore, O.J. Howard, and Deshaun Watson, he'd have told you, you are nuts.
Hey, Mike, don't mess it up.
Rich, here's something that is going on in the quarterback market. We know the Browns have their eyes on Mitchell Trubisky. Clearly, that is not going to happen with the Bears taking him. Here's what I'm hearing right now, that the Browns are now considering trading for Kirk Cousins from the Washington Redskins. I do not believe, when I understand, the Redskins would be willing to do this, but the Browns are looking at all quarterback options, and Kirk Cousins is now something they are thinking very hard about.
Wow. Wow. From my perspective, and I've been wrong all friggin' night long, okay? But from my perspective, I had them taking O.J. Howard because I thought the board would be a lot different at this point. They have options. Lattimore, to me, makes the most sense from a need perspective. Jamal Adams is a great football player. I don't think they take Jonathan Allen because they already have 3 of those interior guys. DJ, do you see it the same way?
Yeah, I do. And the thing with this roster, though, I think this is the worst roster in the NFL right now.
Wow.
So they have got to get this one right as the start of a very long process.
So yeah, this one's tough to see. It's tough to see because of all those great names, because they do need so much, as DJ just said. It's almost like, which way do you want to go? They're all good picks. They're all great ideas. I would love to take the tight end.
With the 6th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Jamal Adams, defensive back, LSU.
So the son of one-time New York Giant George Adams is now a New York Jet. Jamal Adams will be playing the secondary for the Jets.
I think this is the second best football player in the draft.
Yeah.
I thought the Jets, when they got Leonard Williams, who fell in their lap, was a great pick. And I think they just got the second best player of the draft right here, Mike.
This guy closed ground. When you think a guy is open, next thing you know, this guy comes full speed out of nowhere and knocks him out. This guy's a speed to contact guy. He's a great blitzer from the nickel position. He can play safety or nickel. And I think you get his energy. He's one of the few guys, there's about 5 guys I watched getting ready for this draft. When you watch them play, you feel their energy and the way they affect other guys in the football team.
And you see what LSU has been sending, or who LSU has been sending to the secondaries in the National Football League. He's a 6th overall pick. We know Patrick Peterson, 5th overall from back in the day, and Tyrann Mathieu, what he has blossomed into in Arizona. And if you...
Rich, the Chargers have kept very quiet about who they like, telling no one, but I am told they did a secret workout for Clemson receiver Mike Williams. That happened on Thursday on Clemson's campus. They made sure that nobody would find out because this is the guy, from what I understand, that they have wanted all along to help Phillip Rivers maybe get over the edge. And I'm curious, Steve Smith, what do you think of that fit?
Mike Williams as a guy, he's a high jumping rebounder. He's not as fast as Corey Davis, and he's nothing close to John Ross. But at the same time, you can throw the ball anywhere, and he's going to catch it. His range is unbelievable. He does lack the speed when you compare him, but he's still a solid pick, and he'll catch a ton of passes.
All right, so let's hear who the Los Angeles Chargers will pick.
With the 7th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Mike Williams, wide receiver, Clemson.
I guess the secret's out, and there is Mike Williams at his draft party in Southern California, so he won't have very far to go. As you can see, he's at home. He won't have, pardon me, that's in South Carolina, my bad. He will be going to across the country to take on.
Mike Williams is all about separating with length, power, and catch radius. 6'3½", 218 pounds. He's a dominating physical presence. He's a back shoulder guy. You'll love him in the red zone. And I'm going to show you my favorite play of the season, his hustle play against Pittsburgh. Now here he is creating separation with power. Pushes that arm. He's open when he's not open. There's different ways to create. Here it is. I love this. Red zone. Man coverage. One-on-one. Throw the back shoulder. Now look at him. Controls his body, elevates, good vision, and brings it down easily. Now here's the interception against Pitt, late 4th quarter. Game on the line. Watch the guy from behind. Mike Williams runs 75 yards for a game-saving tackle. And guys, that's the kind of teammate I want.
I love the emotion you're seeing from him right there, just how excited he is. I love it. And when you look for a comparison for Mike Williams, I go to Dallas Cowboys and I go with Dez Bryant, because you're talking about guys in the red zone, they can dominate. You see Mike Williams here. Mike talked about these back shoulder throws. He lives on those down in the red zone. And you're going to see right here, Dez Bryant's been doing this for a long time for the Dallas Cowboys. 3rd down and red zone, Mike Williams is going to be a quarterback's best friend.
With the 8th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers have selected Christian McCaffrey, running back.
It's okay, running back, wide receiver, whatever you want to call him. You know, first and foremost, Ed and Lisa did a phenomenal job raising all those young boys, and especially this young man. This guy is a special, special human being. And you know, before we even show the film, one thing about this guy, one of my favorite stories about him was we bring our freshmen in before the season. They come in, they spend all summer, and after the summer, I'm coming back off vacation, and I got 2 of my senior leaders come find me, and all they want to talk about is this young McCaffrey kid. Seniors don't talk about freshmen. They fell in love with this kid because he didn't open his mouth. All he did was come to work, and every competition he won, everything we asked him to do, he did it better than we thought, which played into an unbelievable and historic, soon to be a Hall of Fame career for college football. He's just been phenomenal. I can't wait to see him play at the next level.
Well, in terms of historic, it's the first time in a quarter century that Stanford has had 2 picks in the top 8 of an
awesome.
NFL draft.
Congratulations,
so
Coach.
to you, sir. Mike, you have the floor on Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, let's take a closer peek, and Coach, you and I are going to have a chat about him also. I love his patience. He's not Le'Veon Bell, but his patience is like that. Look at him here. Finds the hole, and Coach, when he sees it, north-south, he hits it, and he runs 4.48. Now, here he is in the pass game. Coach, take it away.
Hey, find somebody on their team that can find him one-on-one. If there is nobody. So with anything that we can do to get him out in space, put the ball in his hands. The thing you're getting with Christian now, you're getting a starter at running back. You're getting a guy that can start as a slot receiver. He can slot as an outside receiver. Oh, by the way, he's going to be starting your kickoff returns and your punt returns. This guy's a special, special guy that can affect the game in so many different ways.
He's a four-down player. Now, here's two things a lot of people don't know about this kid. Number one, he's a similar body type to LaShawn McCoy, 2 pounds different. He ran faster in the 40, he jumped higher, he jumped further. My point is, I love LaShawn McCoy, and this kid's every bit as athletic. And the second point is, at Stanford, he averaged 30 touches a game his last 2 years. So for the people that say he can't carry a major load, Coach, I beg to differ.
Absolutely. Now, you're talking about one of the most finely tuned athletes on the planet. NFL, college, whatever it is, this kid never gets tired. He never not wants the ball. And you bring up LaShawn McCoy. We've been talking about him all week. It's a great comparison. We actually took LaShawn McCoy film before his historic year last year and showed him the film and how to learn that patience and explode down the field.
The pick is in. The Bills are on the clock, then the Saints, and then the Browns. So if the Browns like Deshaun Watson, he's fallen down that way. The Bills might be on him as they're 2 minutes and change into their pick. Mike Williams was the first drafted Clemson Tiger off of the national championship team. Deshaun Watson still back there in that green room. And the Bengals, just like the Browns, have 11 picks in this year's draft. We'll find out what they might do. And that would be a great pick, Jonathan Allen, second on your board.
I love the pick.
9th overall.
He pairs with Carlos Dunlap outside and comes in like Solomon Thomas in sub package. It dominates inside. I know Paul Gunther would love to have the guy. The question is whether or not they want another weapon for Andy Dalton, because that offense really stagnated last year.
I know Eifert's been hurt a little bit. What about O.J. Howard as a potential guy there, Mike? What do you think?
I think O.J. Howard fits beautifully there. I mean, I think one of the concerns in Cincinnati is they weren't explosive last year, and their red zone numbers went way down. And they might want to try to do something to take care of Dalton.
With the 9th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select John Ross, wide receiver, Washington.
So the man who breaks Chris Johnson's 40 mark at the Combine, he's a new weapon coming to the AFC North. Excellent career in Washington. Whoa, hold on a minute. As Ross walks down the steps. Kansas City is now on the clock at 10, and we think that might be for Deshaun Watson. But let's give John Ross his due as he's walking down the steps right now, living out his dream after a stellar career in Washington and a good kid as well. After he broke the 40-yard dash record, he wrote a check for $422 to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It does appear we've got a big trade to talk about once we're done talking John Ross, Mike.
Yeah, 5'10", 188. Let's give this kid his due. 4.22, enough said. Quick and explosive. Questions about medical. He's had shoulder injuries and knee injuries. Some teams have taken him off the board entirely. So there's a medical alert on John Ross, but watch how quick he is. We know how fast he is. Watch him stem inside and get to the corner. That's stealing right there. That's an easy throw for Dalton. Now here he is, getting off press coverage, safety coming over the top. Stack him, run away from him, 4.22, goodbye. That's easy. And again, watch him against the safety. This isn't even fair. He's going to take him, stem him outside, back inside, and now run away. He's got to wait for the football. Easy. John Ross in the kick return game, the punt return game. Here's what I would tell you. Adoree Jackson has nightmares about him. He had 8 catches for $154. Against Colorado, though, who has 2 really good press corners, they targeted him 12 times, only 4 catches. He's got a lot to learn to get off press coverage.
The Kansas City Chiefs no longer have a first-round pick in next year's draft.
Wow.
They just traded it along with the 91st overall pick tomorrow night and their first-round pick tonight to move up 17 spots. And this may be the time Deshaun Watson comes out of the green room.
Be careful, and
okay.
DJ and I are kind of looking at each other because we're both thinking the same thing. It might be Watson, but watch out for Pat Mahomes also.
Okay. The Andy Reid, Deshaun Watson versus Pat Mahomes combination, which one is more likely?
You know, we just had a really intriguing conversation at break because Andy Reid is kind of known that West Coast system of his is very pragmatic and definitive, and he doesn't like a whole lot of drawing outside the lines. Now, the flip side is he did deal with Donovan McNabb, who was an explosive guy, DJ, and Mahomes has so much upside, it's a perfect position for either quarterback to sit behind Alex Smith.
Let's hear who it is.
With the 10th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Patrick Mahomes, the second quarterback.
It is Patrick Mahomes, the second, not Deshaun Watson. That was the apple of the Reed-Dorsey eye in Kansas City. That's the quarterback of the future that they're putting the eggs in the Mahomes basket.
No doubt that at 6'2", 225, he's got arm strength like a Brett Favre. He is a big-time gunslinger like Brett Favre. He's got the arm, he's got the athletic ability. My question is, can he learn to win in the pocket? Because to play in the NFL, at a certain point, you have to. Now, watch him step up in the pocket here, which he doesn't do enough of, and then just the quick snap throw. It doesn't get any better than that throw. Now, he was showing off here. I was there at the end of his pro day. That went like 80 yards or something crazy. Look at him go to his left. He can throw from any platform, any place on the field with accuracy. Now, steps up in the pocket. It goes from left arm to right arm, directs traffic, makes you miss. And there's his athletic ability. Drafted in baseball. Here's what you don't like. Throwing off his back foot into traffic. That happens too often. So the key here, and I think it's a wonderful marriage, is that Andy Reid will be a great developer of his talent. He gets to sit in a room every day with Alex Smith, who has as much gigabytes as any quarterback in football, and learn how to grind.
As Mike was saying there, unbelievable arm talent. What he can do outside the pocket, a la an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson. But it is going to be key, is he able to develop inside the pocket? You watch his feet, you watch his balance, things he's got to grow into. But it's kind of ironic that you have the ultimate gunslinger when you're talking about the college quarterback in Patrick Mahomes with what we call the ultimate game manager in Alex Smith, a guy who doesn't take a lot of chances and protects the football, and that's how they win.
I was coaching Favre in Green Bay, and when I left, Andy Reid took it over, and we both appreciated that gunslinger mentality because it's not just, run around and make some plays and have a strong arm, but it's that athletic confidence that you can make a play almost on every down. Now, I think this is a good pick by Andy Reid. Why? Because he's got his tough young gunslinger that's going to sit there and be patient. Alex Smith is a heck of a guy to sit behind. He's a smart veteran guy that's going to turn 33 years old in 10 days. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He wins. Only Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have more wins than Alex Smith. So he's not looking over his shoulder. Patrick Mahomes will learn from Alex Smith and Andy Reid, and he will be the future some point in time, but not right away.
Mooch, appreciate it. Deshaun Watson sitting on the board. The pick is in for the Saints. We're assuming they're not going in that direction.
No.
Okay, they got to go defense, which means
the top corner in the draft is sitting right there.
So is Jonathan Allen. I got Lattimore and Allen are sitting right there. Both of them would help. They scored 29 points a game on offense last year and lost 9 games. That's hard to do. You got to go defense. They've got corner needs. They've got edge needs. They got to get faster and younger on defense.
Who would you choose?
I take the best corner that's out there right now. They are desperate. In that division with all those big wide receivers they see, and Marshawn Lattimore still on the board, I turn that one in.
They got to affect the pass game. And whether it's on the back end or on the front end, they were number 32 in yards allowed in the pass. They were awful in pass defense. Delvin Breaux hasn't been healthy. They need help everywhere, front and back.
With the 11th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the New Orleans select Marshawn Lattimore, defensive back, Ohio State.
I didn't envision any scenario where the best corner in the draft would make it to number 11, Mike. But all these quarterbacks and wide receivers just dropped Marshawn Lattimore in the Saints' lap.
And I wonder if there's any concern about that chronic hamstring with some of the teams in the top 10.
Or they can get Myles Garrett and their quarterback in Deshaun Watson or whichever the quarterback not named Mahomes or Trubisky that they want by being patient and staying put. They've got 6 and change on the board, but this is a nice addition for the Saints, to say the least.
But let's talk about Lattimore. I'm amazed that he fell to 11. 6 feet, 193, one-year starter, had some hamstring issues both in 14 and 15. He's genetically gifted, comes out of that Glenville High School program, coached by Ted Ginn Sr. His upside is amazing. His ball skills are a true reality. His press coverage, he's very calm. Look at him undercut the route. Rarely gets called for pass interference, even though he's a one-year guy. Now, he gets a little deep here, but look how aggressive he is in the tackle. He's physical, he's tough, he's got all kinds of upside. Now look at him run with this. Watch how fast he is here. That's D.D. Westbrook. In the open field, this was a quarterback scrambling to the right. He sees it and just accelerates to the football. Ran 4.36. He's a physical freak, but I like the fact that he tackles, he makes plays on the ball. I think he can be a key to lead.
So why are we showing the Houston Texans draft party? Because while we're in commercial break, the Texans just traded up with the Cleveland Browns for the 12th overall selection, which means Cleveland now owns Houston's next year first-round pick. Cleveland already owns Houston's second-round pick next year because they acquired that with Brock Osweiler. So Cleveland helped Houston's quarterback situation by removing Brock Osweiler off their hands. And now here we come weeks later at the draft, and Cleveland helps Houston's quarterback situation again. We are assuming that they have come up all the way from 25th overall to 12th to get Deshaun Watson here.
And let me give Cleveland some credit. I've been tough on them with the Carson Wentz thing, okay? They held their water. They made the right pick at 1. They didn't panic after Trubisky went at 2. They waited for things to develop. All of a sudden, Mahomes leaves at 10, and it opens the door for them to trade down, acquire more picks, and allow Houston to come up, which is something they had to do, right? They have Tom Savage and Whedon.
And so Cleveland also, with the Eagles trade last year, owns the Eagles' second-round selection next year as well. So next year's second-round pick will be brought to you by the Cleveland Browns, essentially.
With the 12th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Deshaun Watson, quarterback, Clemson.
So there you have it. The Jaguars didn't take him, and we all know Andrew Luck is sitting there in Indianapolis. And then you now have sitting there in the AFC South playing for the Texans with the Titans already having Marcus Mariota. That's a heck of a young... Is that your week 1 starter for the Houston Texans instead of Tom Savage?
But we talked last year about how difficult a transition it was for Brock Osweiler to learn this offense and to function in this offense. So I think there's a chance we see Tom Savage early on, but I don't think it'll take too long before we see this kid on the field.
This kid, 2 things to say about him. First of all, coaches trust him and love him, and players follow him. This is a natural-born leader. This guy's going to walk into that building, and everyone from the head coach to the janitor is going to fall in love with this guy and follow him wherever he goes.
How about this again? I just want to harp on it, for lack of a better phrase. Watson versus Luck twice a year. Watson versus Mariota twice a year. Very well for Clemson.
I root for this kid. I like him as a person. I like the way he conducts himself. I like how he leads his team. He's best when the lights are brightest, and that's the biggest compliment you can give a quarterback. Watch both the Bama tapes and tell me this kid can't frickin' play ball. But then we get into the whole spread quarterback conversation. So here's a great throw in the bucket. Double coverage against Alabama. You can't put it anywhere better. He throws open the slot receiver in the middle of the end zone. The danger here, 17 interceptions. He's got to learn to read coverages better. He doesn't see the corner drop underneath the corner route. Easy throw, and I hate this throw. Up 8 points in the 4th quarter. Situational football says you never make that throw. So he's got to make the projection from spread to in the pocket quarterback, and there's Mike Williams again with that great tackle. So number 1 is that spread conversion, and number 2, he's got to clean up the interceptions. Jameis Winston had 18 interceptions his national championship year. He had 24 turnovers this year. It's hard to get rid of. Kurt Warner, what do you think of this guy?
I tell you what, I love this guy. I thought he was the most polished quarterback in this draft, Mike. And what I love is that you've seen every scenario with him. You've seen him in the big moments. You've seen him after he's made mistakes. And he had to carry his team with his right arm, and you saw him do that time and time again. A lot of times that leads to mistakes. We saw that with Jameis Winston just a few years ago. What I love about the situation for these last two quarterbacks is they're both going to playoff teams. They're not going to be called upon to do everything for their team. Different situations. Of course, Patrick is going to probably sit for a while, and then Deshaun probably plays sooner, but he's got a defense, he's got a running game, he's got some playmakers on the outside.
Let's take a good look at these guys. Marcus Mariota came out of Oregon, and remember, he was talked about being a very quiet quarterback. They wondered about him being vocal. The same thing with Deshaun Watson. And Steve Young also came out of BYU, able to do what? Use his legs. Steve Young could have been a running back in the NFL, for God's sakes. This is what Deshaun Watson can do. Yes, he can throw the football. Marcus Mariota can throw the football. Steve Young certainly could. But this is the extra dimension that all of them possess. The ability to break up big plays and make big plays with their legs as well.
All right, thank you very much. It's Charles Davis with his 2 cents. The reason why there was a large burst of cheers is because the hometown Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock as J.J. Watt tweeting out a welcome to Houston. We talked about this could have been a spot for Mahomes or Watson if the Cardinals were looking for the quarterback post Carson Palmer, if they don't feel that they have one currently on the roster. What do you think the Cardinals might do here, Mike?
There's an awful lot of defensive talent sitting on this board that we didn't expect. Jonathan Allen is on the board, Reuben Foster and Hassan Reddick. Keep in mind that Carlos Dansby's 35 years old. Dejon Buchanan just had his 5th-year contract executed, but he's a smaller dime linebacker. So I think Reddick, I think Foster, and I think Jonathan Allen all make sense.
Yeah, Steve Keim was texting me earlier today asking about 3 names of players. If they would be there, I said, Steve, there's no chance you're going to see those 3 players. They're all here.
Isn't that incredible? It really is incredible.
Bruce Arians said one of the main objectives in our offseason is to make sure the franchise isn't in the same situation it was after Kurt Warner retired, that the next guy is here and ready to roll. So the 3 main quarterbacks are off the board, but whether it's later today or tomorrow, I think Arizona's got to take a quarterback.
With the 13th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Hassan Reddick, linebacker, Temple.
So with the Eagles on the clock, a hometown Temple Owl gets picked. An Owl becomes a Cardinal.
This past season, he had 10.5 sacks as a defensive end. Went to the Senior Bowl and stood up as an inside linebacker. People forget in high school he was a safety. He had no problems covering running backs and tight ends off the ball. Went to the combine, blew it up. So he went from a preferred walk-on at Temple that was asked to leave to the number 13 pick in this draft. And by the way, he went to Haddon Heights High School right across the bridge. It's 12 miles from this building.
See what he does, Hassan Reddick. What
One
he
of
can
the
do at the next
cleanest
level.
players in this draft. 6'1½", 237. Fast riser. He gives you sub-package versatility, and he's Temple tough. He's got a little edge to him, folks, like all the Temple players have, which I like. Senior Bowl, hand in the dirt. Look at the twitch. He's going to win back inside easily against Biznawadi from Pitt. Again, Senior Bowl, look at him cover the running back. That's simple for him. Senior Bowl game. He's not used to dropping in coverage, but he sees it, drives, makes the tackle, and again, Senior Bowl. Watch him react to the running back who's got a 2-way go. Vision and then drive. This kid's got everything as far as explosive, combustible combine numbers. I've been saying they got to go offense, but the offensive board is decimated. So they got to look at the corner position. Marlon Humphrey, Adoree Jackson. Jonathan Allen is still on the board, and Reuben Foster fits exactly who they are on defense. So if it's defense, I think it's Jonathan Allen or Reuben Foster. If it's offense, I'd probably say O.J. Howard, the tight end.
DJ, we've got 40 seconds till the commissioner comes out.
Corner is the biggest need for this football team, but they hired Joe Douglas to head up their personnel department. Coach, we were with them in Baltimore. Our defenses in Baltimore were built on Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You've got Reuben Foster and Malik Hooker are still on the board right now. I wouldn't be shocked if they went in either direction.
The safety thing would surprise me a little bit with McLeod and
But I think Malcolm
Jenkins.
can play in the nickel. You can drop Malcolm Jenkins down in the nickel. He's done it.
They need corners more than anything, but I'm with you. If Reuben Foster's shoulders are okay, and there's been some questions about that, there's been comparisons to Ray Lewis when he came into the league, and they're legitimate comparisons.
Okay, with the 14th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Derek Barnett, defensive end, Tennessee.
What an emotional moment for the Tennessee Volunteer in the green room and the area.
Who's the other starting defensive end for the Eagles. Keep in mind the Eagles have Vinny Curry, who was a little bit of a disappointment last year, and they signed Chris Long in the offseason. But this guy broke Reggie White's long-time sack record at Tennessee with 33 career sacks. I love the energy. I love the toughness. People either loved him or they didn't like him because he didn't have explosive measurables in the combine.
And they like to compare Derek Barnett side by side with Myles Garrett in their production, especially inside the SEC. And you see a heavy advantage there for Barnett. He is one of the most productive pass rushers you'll see. And Rich, I got to be honest with you, I am glad I am a safe distance from Charles Davis, because I don't know where he'd be coming from.
On the clock, are we safe to say that there is a medical concern about Jonathan Allen by this point in time, Mike? You think? Or is it still too early?
No, here's what I tell you is I know there's medical concerns on the shoulders of both Jonathan Allen and Reuben Foster. Now, the information I get is from different teams, but they're both sliding a little bit.
Yep, here's the commissioner.
With the 15th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Malik Hooker, defensive back, Ohio State.
So Malik Hooker stays in Big Ten country.
There he is on the phone. And he'll fit in with Indianapolis beautifully. So when you look at this kid, what do you see? One-year starter, 6'1", 206 pounds, great athlete. An elite center fielder. In that 1 year, he had 7 picks. Again, range and ball skills. Hip and hernia surgery after the year. So he hasn't worked out for anybody. Look at him drive to deep outside. You talk about range. The first guy I thought of when I watched his tape was Earl Thomas. Why? Because the ability to go sideline to sideline and make plays like that. He doesn't tackle like Earl Thomas, though. Middle of the field, he opens his hips, drives deep outside, and again gets involved in a play and an interception. That's rare to have those kind of ball skills. And then that was an easy pick for him right there. And then watch him finish. This is not him with the ball. Watch the block at the end right here. Hooker with the block on the big offensive lineman, buries him in the end zone, allows Lattimore to score. So my biggest concern is not just the injuries, but the inconsistent tackling.
Last year, Mike, the Colts had 8 interceptions. Hooker had 7.
Wow.
First of all, with Allen, I'm told he has 2 arthritic shoulders, the result of labral tears. Now, I talked to his doctor, Dr. Lyle Kane from Alabama. He said they look bad, but he had no symptoms during this past season. He believes it is something he will be able to work through. Teams clearly, though, are concerned about those shoulders. As for Reuben Foster, also has a shoulder injury, though I'm told that is on schedule. Really, the concern here is the diluted sample at the combine. Now, I talked to Foster. He said he was trying to get as hydrated as possible, and that is why he had the diluted sample. He said if he falls, Mooch, he will be an all-pro for whoever takes him.
With the 16th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Marlon Humphrey, defensive back from Alabama.
That doesn't surprise anybody that Ozzie Newsome would pick an Alabama guy, but I can tell you what, they just got better in the secondary. They have Eric Weddle.
Well, they want to get back to playing Ravens football on defense, and Marlon Humphrey gives them that opportunity, especially in their division. We got to chase around A.J. Green, and of course Cincinnati just got faster with John Ross earlier in this draft, and of course in Pittsburgh you had Antonio Brown breaking people down, and Pittsburgh may be getting some help because some reinforcements with Martavis Bryant coming back too.
This is already a good defense. They're 7th in the league and getting better already, and Ozzie Newsome got his Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll be right back, everybody.
Yeah, and
with the Redskins about to have their pick announced.
I keep looking at Jonathan Allen. We talked quickly about the medical. He's my number 2 player on my board, so you know how I feel about him, and he fits the Redskins to a T. Now, if they're scared away by the medical, I think Charles Harris, the outside linebacker from Missouri, also makes sense.
With the 17th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Jonathan Allen, defensive end, Alabama.
All right, so back-to-back Crimson Tide members coming out. And Jonathan Allen is the newest member of Washington.
I think that's a steal.
There he is coming down the steps. Interesting that the first member of the Crimson Tide to come off the board tonight was not Jonathan Allen, was not Reuben Foster, was not O.J. Howard, was Marlon Humphrey to the Ravens. And now here comes Allen down the steps to meet with the commissioner. And O.J. Howard still on the board.
Terrell McClain, which played that position in base packages, but at 6'2 and a half, 286 on first down, he plays that defensive end in a 3-4, and he has positional versatility, meaning in sub packages, he's going to kick inside and be a nightmare. The shoulder issues were talked about throughout the league, and I think that's why he went 17 instead of top 5. Here he is outside. He's going to stack the tackle with vision on the back, disengage, and make a big hit. Again, little swim over, sees the running back, not a problem. Inside this time where he's going to feast on NFL guards, uses his hands, see him bend there. The ability to bend for a big man is critical. Did a great job. And again, inside, this is his signature play. The Superman play where he runs over the cut block and dives into the quarterback.
I'm looking for somebody who can dominate with his power, with his strength, and his quickness. You look at K'Wan Short, what he's done for the Carolina Panthers. You see Jonathan Allen on a little loop stunt right here. He not only has the strength to hold the point of attack, but he has a little bit of wiggle to him to get home as a pass rusher. And you're going to see here K'Wan Short with the effort to finish on Phillip Rivers. I think they got a great value right here in Washington.
And Mike mentioned his lack of twitchiness, lack of quickness. This guy makes up for it with power and strength, and he is phenomenal with his hands, knocking people back and getting off blocks.
What do you think the Titans go with here?
In my mock draft, I gave them Adoree Jackson, and I'd love to see them pull the trigger here. They're not afraid of smaller corners. Jason McCourty's played for them. He just got released recently, but they signed Logan Ryan. I think Adoree Jackson could step in day one and play either inside or outside for them. And what he would do for them in their special teams would add a whole dynamic difference to Tennessee. What do you think about with Tennessee guys? You think run the ball, downhill, power, physical, tough? They don't have a disruptor on either side of the ball or in special teams. That's who I think he is.
They should probably go defense here, but with O.J. Howard still on the board, to plug him in with Corey Davis, and then you also have a big-time tight end at Delaney Walker, Marcus Mariota could have a heck of a night if they made that pick right here.
I agree. I might be with Mike, though. I love Adoree Jackson here, and he's one of those guys to me. He's an SC guy, but I still love him. This kid is quick and is explosive, and the thing for me is you teach him how to play corner, you teach him how to play nickel, but he's also your day one punt returner, and I might give him a couple plays on offense because he's phenomenal with the ball in his hands.
Let's hear what we got.
With the 18th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Adoree Jackson, defensive back, USC.
I mean,
kid had 9 return touchdowns in college.
Special. And you fall in love with this kid the moment you talk to him. He is humble. He's honest. This guy shows up every single day with a smile on his face, but he works his tail off. And like I said, I would let him touch the ball 2 or 3 times a game on offense because this guy's phenomenal with the ball in his hands.
The last USC Trojan defensive back to be drafted in the first round was Troy Polamalu.
The best physical specimen in Tennessee is not Adoree Jackson. It's 80-year-old Dick LeBeau.
That's right. Nice.
That dude's amazing.
And then Adoree Jackson, as you point out, he's a guy he put out there to get the ball back to all those guys that I just mentioned.
Yeah, and his plays on the ball, I mean, I'd like to talk a little bit about the game he had against John Ross, because he had 2 interceptions. Both were in zone coverage. Meant a lot to me, because guys that play as little as he had out there, to be able to read the third receiver breaking out and seeing it and feeling patterns is pretty amazing.
And as you can see, he does play 4 downs on defense. He plays 3 downs on defense, 1 on special teams, and maybe on offense. And somebody knows a little bit about that, right, Bron? We got about 6 seconds.
I think DJ's saying O.J. Howard. I think that's a strong possibility. And then we're going to start a run on O-linemen.
Okay.
With the 19th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select O.J. Howard.
There you go.
Tight end, Alabama.
Oh, my gosh.
How about this offseason for the offense, Rich?
Wow.
Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard.
Understand that Cameron Brate, who nobody talks about as a tight end, had 57 receptions last year. So now they've got 2 tight ends that can both block in line and move down the field. Almost 6'6", 251. Dude ran 4.51. Old school combination tight end. He can block in line. He can displace outside. He reminds me of Greg Olsen for those very reasons. I think he was underutilized as a pass catcher, and his best pass catching's ahead of him. Here he is against Clemson, a little swing route, and he's gone. Remember, he took over the national championship game 2 years ago against Clemson. Look at him break away from the safety, creating separation. He's faster than safeties. Here's an NFL catch, zone coverage down the seam. You got to handle that, and he does. And how does he do as a blocker? Much better this past season. Heavy effort. I love the pick. I love the player. Tampa Bay just got better.
I agree with you on the comp there, Mike. We've talked about it the whole time. Yeah. Greg Olsen, I think, is a great comparison. But, Coach, to me, Jameis Winston, when you studied him when he came out, one of the best things he does is throw those seam shots. He puts it on a line. He'll throw it outside the hash to Mike Evans. And now he's got O.J. Howard. He can get that ball. So they'll play over the top of the defense.
No question. This team just got big and fast this offseason.
Off the board, here come the Denver Broncos at 20th overall.
Got to be a tackle.
With the 20th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Garrett Bowles, tackle, Utah.
All right, somebody wake up the baby. Back there in the green room, Daddy just got picked. There he is, Kingston Bowles, watching his father live out his dream, Utah Ute.
Coach Shaw and I were talking about this before the draft, and we both agree, Coach, he's the most athletic of all the offensive linemen.
There's no question. You know, the job, there he is. The job at offensive tackle in the NFL is to block freaks. It is your job to keep your quarterback clean by blocking freak shows. And this guy is a freak athlete. He is long, he's athletic, he's fast, he's explosive. And what I love about him probably most is he is nasty. He looks like a great father right now, which is awesome, but in the white lines, he is nasty.
I'll tell you what, it was take your kid to work day this week, wasn't it?
There you go.
Took the trip down the turnpike. What are you thinking, Mike, over there? You look pensive. What do you got in your noggin over there?
I am pensive. Detroit needs an inside linebacker. Reuben Foster, my number 7 ranked player on the board, is available. We've talked about the shoulder, and I had 3 teams call me today and basically say that something came late out of the medical recheck on Foster, and it has to do with his shoulder. And I'm hoping that what I heard today isn't true, but if it is, that's why he's fallen this far. If Detroit doesn't take him here with a major need for inside, if they went for, the next one on my board is Jared Davis. If they went there, it's telling you something about the shoulder.
DJ, you have the floor right here.
Well, I think Mike's bringing up an interesting point on Reuben Foster, and I'm sure there's some people at home that are wondering, is this about the diluted sample at the combine? Is this a drug-related thing? And I do not think it is. I think this is 100% what Mike's talking about. This would be a medical concern. With the teams I talked to about the diluted samples we had at the combine, with Jabril Peppers as well as with Reuben Foster, did not seem very bothered by it.
All right, so let's go to the podium and end the suspense. Who is the latest member of the Detroit Lions?
With the 21st pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jarrad Davis, linebacker, Florida.
All right, well, I guess we front-loaded the discussion there. There you go.
It tells us something, folks. 6'1.5", 238. Davis missed a lot of time this year with an ankle. He's got the physical traits. I was at his pro day, ran 4.58, was explosive, jumped 38 inches. He's a tough kid. He's today's NFL inside linebacker. He can run, he can stay in the game on third down, which I think is critical in Detroit. He's got some pretty good instincts. Now, I thought he struggled against Tennessee with counter. But outside of that one game where I thought he struggled, look at his side-to-sideline speed. I think that's why Detroit, his physicality and his speed, a little bit bigger version of Deion Jones, who went to Atlanta in the second round last year. Now, if you pair this kid in Detroit, remember, they've got Tahir Whitehead
late tonight.
Rich, two teams, I'm told, are trying like crazy to trade up. Now, first of all, the Atlanta Falcons all the way back in the draft. They've been talking to teams all the way up before them. A potential target here, Evan Ingram, the tight end from Ole Miss, someone that they love. Another team trying to trade up, the San Francisco 49ers. This could be Reuben Foster. They have been on him for a long, long time, guys.
With the 22nd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Charles Harris, defensive end, Missouri.
Really solid pick here. Charles Harris, almost 6'3", 253 pounds. Missouri literally recruited him off a playground watching him play basketball. I think he can play 4 down or a 34 outside linebacker. In Miami, it's 4 down. He's got real good get off. Here's a little bull rush. Gets under the Tennessee left tackle and jacks him back into the quarterback. Big hit. Charles Harris has a good first step. Explosive off the edge. He runs the arc, and you can see he can bend. Watch this move right here. A little rip with the hands. Really good hand usage against the tackles. The get off again. Watch the spin. Again, Sharp from Florida. Looking like Sharp is standing still, that left tackle. And again, up top, there's the spin against West Virginia.
Eli's not getting any younger. Huh? They want to help him out a little bit. When you have a young quarterback or an older, you got to run the ball and protect that guy. What are your thoughts with this pick, Steve?
Well, you have to decide what do you want to do. Do you want to protect him or give him more weapons? The two guys I think they're trying to coin flip over right now is Dalvin Cook or Forrest Lamb.
With the 23rd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Evan Ingram, tight end, Ole Miss.
So it is a tight end, and one of the best that we've seen measurable-wise at the Combine in years. Brandon Marshall. So they've added Brandon Marshall and now this dynamic tight end out of Ole Miss for Eli Manning out of Ole Miss.
Tight end. I don't believe he's a matchup nightmare. I don't care what you call him. Forget the label. He can block on the perimeter. He'll be an immediate impact player. He's also one of the smartest and cleanest players in this draft. His skill set, I think, is closer to Mike Evans as a wide receiver. Here, look at the throwback screen here. At 234, he runs 4.42. He ran a 1/10 of a second faster than Mike Evans at the same weight. Here he is catching, just look at his body control. Throws people off. He's an athlete, folks. He runs routes like a wide receiver. He jumps. He's explosive. So I don't care what you call him. Eli's going to say, wow, I love this kid.
And look at that. Look at that lineup. That's dynamic. And
I mean, there's something to keep an eye on there, no question. I'm just looking at this division and seeing all the secondary people leave Dallas in the offseason, and I'm seeing all these weapons go to the Giants. That's going to be interesting to follow. When I'm looking for a comparison with Evan Ingram, I thought what Mike said was really interesting there with Mike Evans. I compared him to Jordan Reed, and because Jordan Reed has a TE next to his name, when you watch the tape, teams treat him like a tight end, even though he's a slot receiver. They continue to walk linebackers and safeties out over Jordan Reed, and he eats them for breakfast. You're going to see the exact same thing from Ingram. Look at the separation he gets right there, and that's Byron Jones, an athletic safety.
Take when that pick gets announced shortly here.
They need an inside linebacker. Reuben Foster's still there. I think I gave them Cam Robinson in my mock, and I like that a lot because he could start day one at right tackle, and their left tackle, Donald Penn, is 34 years old, and you want to protect Derek Carr because you saw what happened when he got hurt last year on the way in the playoffs.
And how about Marshawn Lynch is back in the National Football League?
It's going to be fun.
It certainly is going to be in Oakland. Obviously, we all know that the Oakland Raiders in 2 years will be the Las Vegas Raiders. Interesting times in the Bay Area, to say the least.
The Skittles will be flowing.
Skittles.
We're ready to go.
That's right. Skittles in the black hole.
That's right.
That'll be going.
I'll tell you what, though, Mike, we've talked so much about Reuben Foster.
Yeah.
We probably should revisit the Gary and Conley discussion, too.
No, I agree.
Because this would have been a great pick for them if we were talking a week ago, and that's not the case right now.
But revisionist history would tell me maybe Philadelphia takes him at 14 instead of Barnett. Who knows? Yeah. But I thought Conley was going to be gone in the first 15 picks regardless. So my two highest rated players on the board are Foster, that we found out today has shoulder issues, and then, of course, Garyon Conley, who are teams, he's careening out of the first round. DJ, I don't know what you think, but while this rape allegation is open, it's going to be difficult, I think, even on Friday, unless the team has specific knowledge that hasn't been made public, to pull the trigger on Friday.
Teams are trying like crazy to get all the information they can. And then,
with the 24th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Garyon Conley, defensive back, Ohio State.
Well, I guess they have some confidence in the fact that this young man will be exonerated. Well, he's obviously, look, exonerated is the wrong word. He has not been arrested or charged with anything just yet. Ian Rappaport, what can you tell us about this?
Rich, earlier today I'm told that Ohio State cornerback Garyon Conley took a polygraph test administered by William D. Evans. He is a registered administrator of this polygraph test. He passed, and this was a team in the first round who was considering taking him. That team was not the Oakland Raiders. So had the Raiders not taken him, he likely still would have gone in the first round, but the Raiders did more than their share of homework. They feel very comfortable with his situation, Rich.
Okay.
Rich, I talked to a team last night that picks in the second round that said they have done exhaustive work on this and they felt confident and they would have taken him in the second round. So there are some teams that had a chance to look at a lot more information, Mike, than we got a chance to look at, and they felt comfortable with it, and they felt like they were going to get a real value with this kid. They thought they would get him in the second round. It didn't make it there.
All I can tell you is this. You can't make that pick and be wrong.
They got the Texans, too, when they acquired Brock Osweiler in one of the more bizarre trades we've ever seen. And then they got the Texans 1 tonight when they went and allowed the Texans to make another quarterback transaction with their help. Is it possible that they are mounting enough ammunition for the proverbial offer that Belichick can't refuse for Jimmy Garoppolo? Or, as we heard earlier in the night, maybe Kirk Cousins could be pried loose with all of these picks?
I think the important thing is dealing from strength. And what they're doing is giving themselves options. They've accumulated all this draft capital, and they can do one of two things. They can continue to pick quality football players, but they should also be talking to Bill Belichick. They should also be talking to the Washington Redskins. They should also be talking to the Cincinnati Bengals for McCarron. There's a potential for 3 free agent quarterbacks hitting the market next year, which we never see in the NFL. That doesn't happen. But they can preclude that if Washington wants Cousins. But again, I don't even know what they feel about Kirk Cousins. The bottom line is you've got all this draft capital. Keep picking really good football players. Okay, we're sitting at 25. There's a couple other quarterbacks in this draft today. Okay. Kaiser, Davis Webb.
Let's hear what
they both have bigger arms than Cody Kessler.
With the 25th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Jabril Peppers, defensive back, Michigan.
One of my favorite players in this draft, 5'11", 213, highly recruited kid out of North Jersey. He brings explosive energy in the locker room and on the field, incredible versatility. The question is ball skills and ball production. I kind of say forget about all that. Have a plan for this kid. He played in the box at Michigan. He played linebacker, but I think he can start at strong safety. I think he can start at nickel. I think he's going to be a difference maker in your return game, one of the best kick and punt returners in the country. He can also cover kicks and punts. So we talked about Christian McCaffrey and what he can do versatility-wise. This kid can even play offense. So when people say it's a negative that they're not sure how to play him, I look at his versatility as a positive. And I say have a plan, get the ball in his hands occasionally, but trust this kid. Steve Smith, how do you feel?
He becomes an immediate splash player. You can put him at multiple positions. He can play punt return. You can also fill him in to play on a running back or possibly play wide receiver at times. But he does energize your defense. He does a great job of whatever position you play him in, he's going to make plays.
This is one of the best tacklers in the draft. And when you look at this division, you'll appreciate this, Rich. As a Michigan man, Jabril Peppers has to tackle that Michigan State running back from Pittsburgh and get him on the ground. So that's going to be the big challenge for him.
I very rarely make a request, but can I get the video of the Browns draft party one more time? See all those Ohioans celebrating and high-fiving over the draft pick of Jabril Peppers? Next year, if the Browns don't get their quarterback here, you're saying that there are some kids at this next level, at your level, that are coming out.
We got at least 3 superstars just coming out of the Pac-12 and about 5 really good ones coming out of college football next year. And Mike mentioned 3 potential good free agents also. So the big thing is not to really rush it. And I would say this, so far the Cleveland Browns have done a phenomenal job. They're accumulating picks. They picked 2 really good difference makers right off the bat. Day one, these guys are going to come in and make plays for him. And I love this pick in Jabril Peppers. This kid is competitive. He's tough. Everybody that's ever met this kid falls in love with him because he brings energy to every room that he's in. I went and watched the state championship game, and he played both sides of the ball and was return man and had a phenomenal game. And then after the game in full pads, he did like 4 cartwheels and 4 back handsprings in full pads.
Celebrating somebody we're going to find out shortly. Who do you think they're celebrating about right there?
I think their biggest need is an edge rusher.
Tack McKinley
is there. And I think he makes a ton of sense. I think T.J. Watt is a conversation there. And I think a dark horse there would be one of my favorite people in this draft, at Forrest Lamp.
Oh, yeah.
The interior offensive lineman.
They need a guard.
And I think he starts day one, plug and play.
Well, they gave up their 3rd round selection, 95th overall, and their 7th round selection on Saturday for the right to move up the 5 spots and make this
With
pick.
the 26th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Takaris McKinley, linebacker, UCLA.
So Tack McKinley is now going to the ATL.
I'll tell you one thing. Thomas Dimitroff and Scott Pioli, the last 2 drafts, have drafted Vic Beasley, Jalen Collins, Grady Jarrett, Rashid Hageman, Devondre Campbell, Deion Jones, Keanu Neal.
But yet it looks like they're building the old Indianapolis Colts teams they used to play against, because you've got those 2 speed rushers coming off the edge in that new indoor building they're going to have next year in Atlanta. Get a lead with your offense and then chase them down with pass rush.
When you watch this guy, he's one of these guys I love because you see second effort sacks. Some guys are speed guys, they get around the edge and they get a sack and get pushed off. This guy, he'll retrace, he'll fight right back into the offensive tackle. This guy's fun to watch. He plays his heart out every single weekend.
I told her before she passed away I was gonna live my dream. I was gonna go D1. I was gonna get out of Richmond. I was gonna get out of Oakland. I was gonna go to the NFL. I made that promise to her, man. 30 seconds later, she passed away. And this is what I do it for. This is what I do it for, man. Come on, man. God damn. Get to the damn quarterback. We gonna get to the quarterback.
Moments ago, the Packers just traded away the 29th overall pick to, hold on, wait for it, the Cleveland Browns.
Here we go.
Just when you think they're out, they pull themselves back into the 1st round. What do you think the Browns are doing? They gave up
Kaiser.
They gave up. The Cleveland Browns, to do that, by the way, gave up the 1st pick in tomorrow night's draft. Tomorrow night, 33rd overall,
right.
and 108 in this year's draft, a 4th rounder.
Right.
To come back in and select, well, I guess we don't know, but they know who the Bills and the Cowboys have selected because that information is is afforded to the teams that are on a clock.
But there's that extra year on the contract thing, Mike. We always talk about at the bottom of the first round. If you want a quarterback.
You want to lean towards a quarterback here. It's either Kaiser or
Webb. They coached Webb at the Senior Bowl.
And yeah, they coached Webb at the Senior Bowl. Now, Buffalo is on. We're still
on the
talking.
clock. Yeah. The Buffalo Bills are on the clock right now.
I mean, I'm as fascinated as you are with Cleveland tonight, and I think they're doing a great job. For Buffalo, who traded down from 10 to what, 27?
Yep.
They've got right tackles sitting out there that I'm really. Ryan Ramczyk and Cam Robinson are both there. Jordan Mills is their incumbent. They've got problems behind that. Henderson's got a 5-game suspension. Quanjo hasn't been the guy they're looking for. Right tackle makes an awful lot of sense to me here.
With the 27th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Tre'Davious White, defensive back, LSU.
So it is the third LSU Tiger. So here he comes. Alabama had 3 taken in a span of 4 picks. Ravens, Redskins, and Bucks. Ohio State has had 3 in the first round tonight. And now LSU joins that group.
So Tre'Davious White was a 4-year starter in the SEC, which tells you a little something about him. 5'11", 192, good arm length. This kid is a competitor, solid 4-year starter. I like him a lot in press. Thought he was a little confused at times in off coverage. 3 punt return touchdowns. Don't forget about that as added value for the Buffalo Bills. Vision back to the quarterback, sees the ball. He's one of those guys that understands and has enough confidence to get his head around and rip it away. Doesn't have as many pass interference penalties because he trusts his eyes. He'll tackle. The word, and watch this punt return, folks. Okay, he's down, right?
Oh, this is one of the best plays of the year.
Maybe not. You got to get him, right? I mean, so even though we don't talk about him like some of the other people in this draft, I think he's a really good football player, and it's a compliment when I say he's solid and tough and plays all phases that a corner should play. I mean, they've got to get an edge rusher
and a corner.
But I mean, they've got Lawrence, who's had his 2nd back surgery in January. Ty Craw, they hardly can line up right now at the edge. The highest rated guys I have right now are T.J. Watt, Taco Charlton. I don't think they can touch Tim Williams because of what they did with Seymour. So I think it's got to be edge rusher or, like you said, DJ, a Kevin King or one of those type of players.
Kevin King and Quincy Wilson are the 2 big corners that are up there.
Yep.
There's one X factor also. I keep thinking about Jalen Smith from last year from Notre Dame. He's there. There's positive reports that Denny may be coming back. So that could be the edge rusher maybe that they're looking for. So I know there's still high hopes for him because he's just starting to work out and starting to run full speed again.
With the 28th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Taco Charlton, defensive end, Michigan.
They're all excited. Mike, you've got the floor here.
This kid has length, power, and athletic ability. Reminds me physically of Carlos Dunlop at 6'5" and 5'8", 277 when Dunlop came out of Florida. He's got length, power, movement skills. 1-year starter, which makes me question where he was before that with all this length and talent. And Carlos Dunlop's a good comp, except Dunlop ran 4.7. This kid ran 4.92. I don't think he has quite the same twitch. However, he made plays. I thought his best game was against Ohio State, to be honest with you. He had 2.5 sacks. He played really well in the run game. And I thought if he played like that, the way he did against Ohio State every single week of the year, he'd have been a top 10 or 12 pick. We talk quarterback. That's the obvious to move back in. You and I talked tight end at 12.
Thought O.J. Howard maybe.
We thought O.J. How about Njoku?
With the 29th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select David Njoku.
There you go.
Tight end, Miami.
So there you go. David Njoku is he's just a mountain of he's not even 21 yet.
He's
a
20
young
years.
kid.
He's 20 years old. He's an ascending talent. He's got inline traits, meaning he's going to grow into that body, and I think he can play as a inline tight end. Won't be 21 years old till July. As a high school athlete, he was a 6'11" high jumper. He's got incredible talent, and he doesn't even know yet how good he can be. Busted coverage, just running away from people. He runs like a wideout. He competes as a blocker, which is why I think down the road as he gets bigger. Look at that move right there. Notre Dame kids all over him. Pass interference, doesn't matter. Still has the ability to turn his body and make a catch. Strong hands to hold on to the football. Watch this. I talked about a 6'11" high jumper.
Oh, boy.
See ya. So all the talent in the world. So what has Cleveland done tonight? Well, Myles Garrett at number 1. Jabril Peppers, who's an energizing talent at 25, come back up and get a kid with Pro Bowl talent. I'm not saying he's ready yet, Njoku, but when they're ready to be good in a couple years, this kid could be special.
And by the way, I just want to also say all they did to do that essentially is just to move up 4 spots to get Njoku is give up a 4th rounder this year, and they have Houston's 1st rounder next year in their back pocket. They just haven't gotten a quarterback tonight.
That's right. I like what they're doing, Rich.
Yep.
And to me, with Njoku, you look at the background of all these Miami Tens, it's a pretty good list when you look at it. I think he's got a chance to be the next great tight end from the University of Miami.
The headline tonight is going to be all about the quarterbacks. I'm absolutely stunned that we have 3 picks left in the 1st round, and Cam Robinson, Ryan Ramczyk, and Forrest Lamp are still on the board. 3 offensive linemen.
That's a good point, Mike. I want to go back to Cleveland just real quick because the headline on the paper, Rich, all you got to do is take a picture of that Rocky statue, and you write underneath it, Sashi 3. We're not going Rocky 3. We're going with the Sashi 3.
By the way, San Francisco traded back in. We're on the air, sir. This guy right over here. 31st overall. The 49ers just traded up to do that? Okay. They traded 34 and 111. Let's go back to the Franklin Institute so we can get this Yahoo out of here. What do you got over there?
Guys. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers, number 30 on the clock. You know, they tell Big Ben, they're going to have to replace him at some point and get another quarterback. Defense has been improving over the years, but where do they go, Charles Davis, from here? Is this a possibility for Reuben Foster?
Yeah, it's always a possibility for that because Pittsburgh values their defense. I know that they, out of their 3-4, they really like those edge rushers a lot. Reuben Foster's going to play inside, but he helps set a tone for a defense. But don't forget that secondary still needs work. The guys talked earlier about Kevin King from the University of Washington still being out there, a Quincy Wilson from the University of Florida. So they've got a couple of places they can go. I highly expect it to be on the defensive side of the ball, though.
I agree with you. Defensive side of the ball, they're going to look for that, but also, too, I'm not going to try to guess and see who they get, but I know they're going to go.
You've been pretty good tonight. You might as well throw another one out. You've been more than okay. But you've been on fire.
I think they got to go in the secondary. That's an area that they do not have some good players in. That they need a first-round guy and a guy that can start immediately.
Yeah, you know, I wonder a guy like, you know, they play with an outside linebacker, T.J. Watt. I thought he might end up at a Green Bay, but you're talking about the Steelers and their defense. Let's see what happens here. Rich, take it away.
And now, with the 30th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select T.J. Watt, linebacker, Wisconsin.
So it is T.J. Watt, all in the family. As you can see, Derek Watt, part of the Chargers organization, and there's T.J. Watt, now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and J.J. Watt.
And I love Peppers.
With the 31st pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Reuben Foster, linebacker, Alabama.
6 foot, 229. I'm a BC guy, and I don't say this very lightly, but he reminds me of Luke Kuechly when I watch tape. He had a tough childhood, but he's an immediate impact player. Sideline to sideline, he will light you up, can play in the pass game. I'm amazed that he's fallen to this point. Now, here he is. When he sees it, he trusts his eyes. There is no doubt when he's coming downhill and sideline to sideline, he makes big hits. Again, screen pass. Every Coach Shaw talked about energy to finish. Every time he makes a tackle, his energy finishes. Look at him on the kickoff team. Get off me. You kidding me? Sees football and reacts. Oh, and look at that hit, folks. Energy and finish. Now, he went 31. He's number 7 on my board. Rich, a really interesting conversation to me is I think there's 2 surprising picks for different reasons. Garyon Conley to Oakland. They better be right about the homework they did on that kid. And Reuben Foster, 30 teams passed on him with tape like Kuechly. San Francisco better be right on him with that shoulder.
You know, for years we've been hearing, you know, Mike usually talk about guys that are thumpers and other guys that are speed guys. This is the combination. This is a sideline to sideline thumper. This is rare. This guy's a special, special football player. He sits in that middle of defense and no one is safe. Not in the run game, not in the pass game. He's a phenomenal blitzer. He's great against the run. He's great against the pass. This guy's going to be exciting at the next level.
Can I appropriate that term? Sideline to sideline thumper?
It's all yours.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that. Thank you.
So the Saints pick we're about to get, this was the pick belonging to the Super Bowl 51 champion New England Patriots, flipped to New Orleans in the Brandon Cooks trade. So it's now the Saints who picked way back 11th overall and chose Marshawn Lattimore out of Ohio State. We'll see who the Saints pick to wrap up the first round of the 2017 NFL Draft.
With the 32nd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Ryan Ramczyk, tackle, Wisconsin.
All right, so there you go.
There's no question. This kid's going to play for a long time. He's a safe pick. He's a smart pick. He's a good football player. Played great against Michigan. And that game against Michigan, I thought he was a really, really good football player. They got to be excited for him.
And that's it for the first round. Tomorrow night's second round will begin with the Green Bay Packers and then the Seattle Seahawks, who didn't have first round selections tonight because they moved out. Last time the Packers didn't have a pick in the first round was 2008. It's been a long time since Packers fans just watched the first round and didn't see any players selected. So you've got some offensive linemen and some running backs that are be sitting out on the board when everything starts tomorrow night.